Hey guys, I'm JB, and welcome to the Wolves Den. A burning question of the day. Is Storm being disrespected? Now, you might wonder, why am I even asking that question? Well, Marvel's just launched their latest mutant event, this one being titled X-Men United. Now, when the promotional artwork for the book dropped, I saw something that gave me a little bit of pause. I understand that this is Emma Frost's book, but when you look at it, Storm is kind of off in the third row. You know, she's hanging out with Sabretooth. Now, you might say, well, that's just a cover. It's not the actual book. Well, the actual book comes out. And what do we see? We see Storm doing things like flying around in the background, listening to music on panels that have lots of other people listening to music. You know, she's doing a lot of background things, but the one thing she's not doing is speaking. Yes, she has no lines in this book. Now, I thought that was a little bit strange, given who Storm is. But, if you think about it, it's not the first time we've seen Storm done dirty. Halle Berry was never really allowed to do her thing in the movies. I think her biggest battle was a 1v1 versus Toad. Then there's everybody's favorite show, X-Men 97. Hey, I like the show myself, not gonna lie. However, I remember in the first episode, there's a part where the X-Men are taking on a gang that hates mutants, and then there's this big explosion, and Storm and Bishop both get knocked out cold, and Cyclops goes on to take out the whole gang and save the day all by himself. You got knocked up! Now, you might wonder, okay, what is my issue with all of this? Well, let's talk about who Storm is. Now, Storm is a former leader of the X-Men herself, and arguably the greatest leader. I already know people already getting ready to jump on the keyboards and be like, no, it's Cyclops, you're wrong. But let's remember how Storm became leader. She became leader by beating Cyclops. Let's go back. So Cyclops had left the team. He had a lot of things going on in his life. He got married. He became a family man. He had a child. He was doing this whole thing. However, Cyclops soon returns to the team. And now he's the type of guy that if he's on the team, he can't just be a member of the team. He's got to be the leader of the team. And see, that's one of the problems I've always had with Cyclops. But, that's a whole nother thing. At this point, Storm is the leader of the team. However, she's recently gone through her own personal tragedy where she's lost her powers. Now, Cyclops takes this moment to say, hey, this is a mutant team. And if you're going to lead the team, you have to be a mutant. How rude. So Cyclops challenges Storm for leadership of the X-Men. The two of them fight, and Storm beats him. Now, when that happens, Cyclops decides if he can't be the leader of the team, he's not going to be on the team at all. So he takes his ball and he goes home. And, later on he makes his own team X Factor because, Cyclops has got to be the leader of something. But now, also during this period, we've got another group, the Morlocks. For those who don't know, the Morlocks are a group of mutants who live underground in the New York sewer system. The Morlocks start doing a little bit too much. They capture Angel, and now the Morlocks leader, Callisto, she's got Angel tied up and literally plucking his feathers like a chicken. And this leads to Storm battling Callisto, the Morlock leader. Now, Storm still has no powers at this point. But anyway, she fights Callisto and defeats her, which then makes Storm the new leader of the Morlocks. So Storm is simultaneously leader of the X-Men and the Morlocks. Now, a few years go by after that, and Storm marries T'Challa, which then makes her Queen of Wakanda. Unfortunately, that marriage didn't last too long. Marvel's got this thing where they like to break up marriages, even though the Fantastic Four has proven that fans won't lose interest in characters just because they're married. Reed and Sue's marriage has stood the test of time, even though Namor keeps trying to shoot his shot. Currently, Storm is a member of the Avengers, but to be honest, it seems like she's just doing her own thing. And what exactly is her own thing, you might ask? Well, it seems to be taking her place amongst the Thunder Gods. That's right, Storm is now recognized as a whole Thunder God or goddess, which to me seems to be the right place for her. I mean, to be honest, Storm has done pretty much everything she can do on the X-Men. And if they're just going to have her, being in the background, flying around and doing weird stuff and having no speaking lines, I'd prefer they don't use her in the book at all. And Storm on the Avengers, to me, that's kind of like Batman on the Justice League. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm a member, but try not to call me too often. Do I think Storm has been disrespected in the X-Men books and in other forms of media, like the movies and sometimes in animation? Yes. But at least in her solo book, they're giving her the respect she deserves. Those are my feelings. What do you think? Do you think she's been disrespected and misused? Or do you think things are just fine? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Also, what other characters do you think could use a little bit more respect put on their names? Leave it down in the comments and maybe we can talk about it in the next one. All right. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for stopping by the Wolves Den. Till next time. Peace.